Good morning, sixth graders. Today you are all going to learn about the 4 different types of conflict. Make sure that you are flipped to the independent station. It is in your packet. It looks like this, independent station. So to get started, you may know a little bit about this already, may have learned it before in ELA. It's just going to be a quick review today. So a conflict is a problem and a resolution is a solution to that problem. So as I read the following passage, answer to identify the conflict. What's the conflict here? And the resolution. Again, conflict is the problem. Resolution is solution to the problem. Maria was walking down the street to get to her grandmother's house. She noticed a $100 bill on the ground. She didn't know whether or not to keep the money or search for someone who may have lost it. Maria then spotted someone who seemed as if he was looking for something and kept searching through his wallet. Maria went up to the man and discovered that the $100 was his, so she gave him the money. He was incredibly relieved. So again, be really careful. The resolution is not that he was incredibly relieved. A lot of people get tripped up there. The resolution, which is the actual solution to the problem, is that she gave him the money, right? That was how she solved this problem. So there's more than one type of conflict. There are 4 types. Write down these 4 types in your notes. Person versus person, person versus self, person versus nature, and person versus society. You can pause the video as you write it, then move on. So the first type of conflict, person versus person, that is a problem between 2 characters in your story, or really in life, when there are 2 different people who are having problems with each other. But there's also person versus self, when a character or a person is struggling within their own mind. This is like, say you're feeling really insecure about something, or you're having a lot of emotions you're trying to deal with, or you're really upset, mad at yourself for something that you did. That is a person versus self conflict. Person versus nature is when a character is facing a problem caused by nature. Sometimes not all of our problems are caused by people. Sometimes there can just be natural things going on. You can't point to anyone and blame them. It's not their fault, but it's still being caused by something, just more of the natural world. And lastly, person versus society is when a character's problem is caused by a society or a whole group of people, not just one. You can pause the video while you write all these down. Continue once you're done. So, which type of conflict is this? After breaking his mother's favorite vase, Casey struggles to decide whether he should tell his mother to tell the truth and face the consequences, or whether he should attempt to hide his mistakes and blame the family dog. So for this one, again, the conflict is person versus self, because he's not really in a fight with his mother or a fight with anyone else. His problem is that if you look at the conflict, his struggle is to decide what he should do. So that's actually person versus self. Take a look at the conflict here in example 2. What type of conflict are the people having in this picture? In example 3, what type of conflict is this person having right here? This conflict is person versus nature. This seems really tricky because it's a shark, doesn't really seem part of nature. But if the person causing the conflict isn't another human being, and if it's not all of society, then things like animals, even if it's a dog or something, we all consider that part of nature. So this shark that's causing a conflict for this guy right here, that is person versus nature. It's the year 3030, and society is completely dependent on computers and robots. A young boy named Domino is flying his hoverboard to school when all of the machines start acting up and attacking people due to a powerful computer virus. What will Domino do now that the machines that are supposed to help him have turned against him? So this is a really tricky one because it was him deciding what to do. So in a certain way, you could think it'd be person versus self. Maybe you could kind of argue that. But since this says it takes place in the future and the society is computers and robots, this is a person versus society. Now take a look at this one. This is people during the early civil rights movement picketing for their rights and freedom. So now go to the instructions on the next page, or at the bottom of your page, It says hatchet practice. Directions. Fill in the chart below with examples of conflicts that we've seen Brian face. Be as specific as possible. So, for example, Brian is being eaten alive by mosquitoes and black flies. I read this and I know that this is a person versus nature conflict because mosquitoes and black flies are causing that problem. So go ahead and circle person versus nature. I'm just going to bold it or underline it here. You're going to circle that. And then this is the part where you find evidence from the story that shows Brian is having that conflict. To find the evidence, what you can all do is Google Hatchet PDF. Don't do it right now. Watch as I do it. And click the first one. Then you can search through the text. Because you don't have it all with you, here's a little trick that makes it easier to search. I've also written it at the top of your page. So to find evidence, if you click Control F, if there's a certain word you want to search for, so I'm going to search for mosquitoes. Found it right here, mosquitoes. It says, there were swarming clouds of mosquitoes that flocked to his body. So here is my evidence that supports that he is in a conflict. And as you scroll, it'll show the page number. This is page 14. So remember, for evidence, we always put in quotation marks and say where we got it from. So you can even just copy and paste or retype. And then page 14. So there is evidence that shows me what is happening in that conflict right now. And then in this box, resolution. So that's when you're going to decide, have we seen a resolution to this conflict, a solution, or not? If you have, then you'll go ahead and make a little check mark in the box if Brian's found a way to solve this problem. And if not, then just leave it blank. So as you go through, flip to the next page, you're going to see that for a couple of them, I did it just like this, and you have to fill it in. But some of them are a little bit trickier. Right here, I put person versus nature, so I want you to find a person versus nature conflict he has that I didn't already mention. Write some evidence right here and do the same thing with resolution. And for the last one, I just filled it in with a check mark. So you're just going to have to think of something, some problem he had that's been resolved, and fill it in the rest of the chart. So go ahead and do that. Once you're finished, take out your independent reading book.